Here is something every parent thinks they are doing right, and it is quietly destroying their relationship with their teenager. You sit down, you start talking, and within 60 seconds, their eyes glaze over, the phone comes out, or they give you that flat one-word answer that tells you the conversation is already dead. You did not say anything wrong. You were not yelling. You were just being a parent. So why does it keep happening? Today we are breaking down 7 completely normal conversations that feel totally reasonable to adults but hit teenagers like a wall, triggering that instant emotional shutdown you have seen 100 times. And more importantly, we are going to talk about why this happens so you can actually start getting through to them. Number 1. The how was your day conversation. This seems harmless. It is friendly. But to a teenager, this question arrives like a trap. Their brain is still processing 12 hours of social dynamics, academic pressure, and emotional chaos, and now they have to summarize it on demand for someone who is going to evaluate their answer. The result? Fine. Nothing. I do not know. Not because they do not want to connect with you, but because the question creates performance pressure at exactly the wrong moment. Number 2. The unsolicited advice conversation. Your teen mentions a problem, maybe a conflict with a friend, maybe they bombed a test. Before they even finish talking, you are already in solution mode. You are handing them a roadmap. Here is what you should do. Here is what I would do. What teenagers hear in that moment is that you do not trust them to figure it out. Their brain registers it as criticism disguised as help, and they decide very quickly that sharing with you creates more problems than it solves. Number 3. The comparison conversation. You do not even have to say another child's name. The moment a parent implies that someone else is handling life better, a teenager's sense of identity goes into defense mode. Their self-worth at this stage of development is incredibly fragile and deeply tied to being seen as uniquely capable. Comparisons, even gentle ones, feel like attacks on who they fundamentally are. Number 4. The lecture about their future. You bring up grades, college, careers. You have the best intentions. But teenagers live neurologically in the present. The prefrontal cortex that handles long-term planning is literally still developing. When you talk about consequences that are years away, their brain cannot emotionally connect to it. It sounds like noise. Motivational noise with good intentions, but noise. And they shut it off. Number 5. The why did you do that conversation. This one feels like a fair question to an adult. But teenagers often genuinely do not know why they did something. Their impulse control and self-awareness are both still maturing. When you ask for a rational explanation, they cannot provide. They feel cornered. And a cornered teenager does one thing really well. They go completely silent. Number 6. The not in my house rule conversation. Boundaries are necessary. That is not the issue. The issue is delivery. When a parent announces a rule without any context or dialogue, a teenager does not hear protection. They hear control. And teenagers are biologically wired right now to push back against control, because developing autonomy is literally their developmental job at this age. The rule does not land. The resentment does. Number 7. The I am just worried about you conversation. This one might surprise you because the words sound loving. And they are. But when worry becomes the frame for every conversation, teenagers start to feel like a problem to be solved rather than a person to be known. Over time, they stop bringing you the real stuff because they know what is coming. The worried look, the follow-up questions, the anxiety that becomes their burden to manage on top of everything else they are already carrying. Here is the thing that ties all 7 of these together. Teenagers do not shut down because they do not love you or trust you. They shut down because their brains are in the middle of one of the most intense developmental transformations of their entire lives. They are hypersensitive to judgment, desperate for autonomy, and emotionally overwhelmed in ways they cannot always articulate. When a conversation triggers any of those pressure points, the shutdown is not a choice. It is a reflex. The good news is that knowing this completely changes how you can show up. You cannot always fix the conversation, but you can change the conditions that make connection possible. Start by listening longer than feels comfortable. Ask questions that do not require performance. Be present without an agenda. Your teenager is not shutting you out because they do not need you. They are shutting you out because right now, they do not feel safe enough to let you in. And that is something you absolutely have the power to change.